Yo guys, what's up? It's Teacher's Game 2 coming at you with another video here, and I just wanted to show you a step-by-step guide slash walkthrough in order to beat the beta boss on the new map Valguero. Now, if you don't mind leaving a like and a subscribe, that'd be really appreciated. You guys have been nothing but awesome and supportive. It's been great. Thank you very much for that. So anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and head on into this boss fight, and I will show you how it's done. So let me tell you what you need to go into this boss fight. What we always bring in the beta, about 20 veggie cakes per rhino. Usually, you can see it right up there. This is the beta. 5 rhinos, 5k health, 500 stam, 700 melee, 20 veggie cakes each, and that's really all you need. Now, it's not that hard. Make sure some berries are on each of your rhinos so they don't eat the veggie cakes instantaneously, so you can sometimes force them to. It's up to you. Now, you see the pteranodons come in here pretty hot. Now, you want to make sure you take care of these guys really quickly, because if you do not, it'll be a big problem later. We've made that mistake before because they fly around and they come at the most inopportune times. Now, that being said, usually what you want to do, as long as you're up on this teleporter, you can see us doing damage to the manticore. That's important, but the biggest thing you can do for yourselves in this boss fight is only take on one boss at a time, because if you take on more than one, you are in big trouble. You'll notice we have one guy down below. He is pulling the dragon in while the rest of us wait up on top, because we don't want to overextend ourselves. That's a big mistake that a lot of people make with this fight the first time they do it. Wait till he breathes his fire, and then you'll see one guy pull him to the side so he doesn't breathe fire on everybody else. And then we come in to start to do damage. Now you want to take out the dragon first. Do not even bother with the other two. If this guy survives long enough, the other two will come towards you and you're in big trouble. So take this guy out first. Now, you'll notice we take a dragon breath there. That's why you have the veggie cakes, because no matter what you do, no matter what armor you have, no matter anything, that is going to take 10% of your health, which is a ton, obviously. You don't want that to happen. You'll notice all of us run back up. We cycle a new guy down to the bottom. I force feed a veggie cake, and we're good to go. Now, manticore lands here in just a second, but we still don't need to worry about her. I make sure that I'm the one that takes care of her. She's gone, and then we go ahead and go down again. Now, we want to try and deal as much damage as we can to this dragon at this point in time. It's something that's really important. Again, I can't stress it enough. You got to be careful, because if he survives for a long time, it's over for you. That's all I have to say. So we only have 5 guys doing this. I'd like to remind you of that. So it's really not a hard boss fight to do. We all have imprinted rhinos, so that is one benefit. And our armor on our saddles about 50 to 60 each. You'll notice he's pretty low on health. Now you want to make sure you keep an eye on your rhino's stamina. Now, the one thing you want to be careful about is because when you walk into those purple clouds that manticore shoots, it absolutely drains your torpor, and by that I mean it raises it, because that's something that's, just not a good thing to have. If you have a rhino and it passes out, that's a big problem. You'll notice the manticore's down, the dragon is not, so again, we stay to our goal of one at a time. More than one's a big problem. Now, we all run back up. A new guy cycles down to the bottom. And here comes the dragon. I believe this is either the second to last time. Yeah, this is the second to last time it comes at us. And you can see it again. It's the same thing over and over. Dragon's walking towards us. We wait up here. I think I accidentally take the fire breath again because I was a little bit eager. Yep, there it is. Now, what you're going to do, you go on down here. Do as much as you can. Get a full charge if you can, because you do an insane amount of damage with that. These guys have about 1,000,000-ish health each. So that's why it takes so long to kill them. Now you see that purple stuff there. You can see mine and my rhino's health going down. This is why you have your med brews, because if you get hit by one of those dead on, don't even do anything but start pumping med brews, because at first it doesn't look like they take much health, but they quickly increase how much health they take. So get out of those purple clouds, force feed yourself the med brews, and you'll be fine. Now, the reason you have the shotguns, a lot of people are like, wait, why do you have that? The big reason you want the shotguns out is so you can take out the manticore, because sometimes she is a pain in the butt and doesn't want to land. Now this should be the last time you'll see us right here. We are on the dragon, moving. Manticore lands, don't even bother with her for right now. We just rotate back up. You see those pink and purple blasts just missed me. Thank goodness. My buddy decides he's going to go ahead and trap me down. Oh well. But another thing, we get a little bit too eager right here, which is fine because the dragon's almost dead, but you do not want to aggro that megapithicus. You want to stay as far towards this side as you can. Now we quickly destroy the dragon right here. Notice when that body falls, the body of that dragon right there, you do not want to get stuck underneath it, because if you do, You can see my tribe mate right now. It's a big problem. And then when that manticore lands, it can be a major pain in the butt for you. So now we have to kind of try and kite this manticore and get rid of her while our buddy tries to escape the dragon. So the second that thing dies, you want to get out of there. It's a big thing for you. Now, I constantly collect berries because you want to be able to pump stim berries every now and then. It's up to you. You see my health is doing fine. And I pump a little bit of stim because I see myself rising just a touch, raise my level. You got time as soon as the dragon dies just to kind of heal up, make sure everything's going well, check with your teammates, making sure it's all good. Now, this is the most difficult part. This megapithicus seems to have the most health, and he is the one that is a pain in the butt. And you'll see why in a second here. So here goes us. We're all going for him. Now, these guys do not have a set amount of health. Fun fact for you, they spawn in just like wild tames. Sometimes you'll go into a boss fight and the monkey or the gigantopithecus, whatever you want to call him, he's going to have maybe 500,000 health, and sometimes he'll have 3 million. So it's totally random. You could get really lucky. This time we got really unlucky on him because you'll notice he has a ton of health. We sit here and fight him for a long time, much longer than we spent on the dragon and much longer than we spent on the manticore. Now, what you want to do is you'll see we're kind of all moving in this giant circle around him. In a clockwise or counterclockwise circle, we try and rotate with each other because what happens is he spawns in Gigantopithecus and Mesopithecus. Now, what they actually do, they're not a big pain in the butt, but those little guys, they throw poop at you and they slow you down so you cannot sprint on a rhino, which is a big problem, obviously. So you want to make sure you cover each other. You'll see each other. We kind of like help each other out. For example, right here, you see me go towards that guy and go to get the little monkey off his butt. Now I stim myself up a little bit. And what happens is, sorry, my dog is also whining in the background right now. But right now you see two bosses again. However, we do not even consider the manticore. We want to make sure we focus on helping each other to keep each other alive. And this boss right here, see how little his health is actually going down? This means that we got a really unlucky roll. And here's me going to help out my tribe mate. You'll see this here. You want to make sure you're constantly doing that, because if you are not pulling these things off of your tribe mates and one guy is out, you're going to lose a tribe mate here and there, and that's a big problem. You want to make sure you avoid that. It's a lot of the reasons that people end up losing in this boss fight, because you just forget about one guy and you need everybody. So again, you see us go front to back to front. There's me forcing myself some med brews. Really important right there, because if I didn't, I may have had a chance of dying. I stim my rhino up just a touch in order to make sure that he doesn't pass out. Now, again, you see this megapithecus is still alive. This has to be one of the most unlucky beta rolls I've ever had, because we are just throttling this guy with damage and nothing. He's just not feeling any of it. Now here comes the rolls of the little guys again. You'll see us start to rotate. There's a little monkey. Make sure you take him out. Now we come in for big charges in these little circular motions. That's the best thing you can do for the big guy. Do these giant circles to avoid as much damage as possible and get as much damage you can deal on him. Now, one tip for you guys that we didn't really focus on the first time: if this manticore keeps landing, you don't want to pass up on free damage all the time, but make sure only 1 or 2 guys are taking her, because if she comes into the middle of everything right here, what you're going to notice is she's dealing damage to all of us. That's a big problem. You want to make sure you can actually get to her so one guy is taking that, because she doesn't deal a ton of damage, but with that and the megapithecus, it's a problem. You can see me get hit by the little poop throwers, and I'm kind of like stuck now. So you want to be very careful about that. And what happens here, we go and rotate out to the outside, and we got to kill this thing now. So she lands, which is fortunate for us, because this is a very difficult part of this fight as well, because what happens is this thing takes off, lands, takes off, lands, takes off, lands. And this is where the fight can get tricky, because you're not going to lose because you take too much damage. Sometimes it takes too much time and you actually lose this boss fight. Now, here it is right here. What you want to do is, you'll see us, we're down in this river right now. We go ahead and recollect ourselves in the big open field, because if we're down in this river, what happens is you can't actually charge her super well. So we end up going up to this river, or this little field you'll see to the left here. Here we all go, because you can get a full charge over in this area, whereas you can't get it in the river. Now she lands, takes off. As you can see, it can be a major pain in the butt. She doesn't have a bunch of health, which is nice. However, landing, taking off is a real big issue. Now, one of the things you want to focus on right here, see that? I look up to make sure I don't get hit by those blasts. Avoid those, because those things are the reason that you lose boss fights as well, because one guy gets knocked off, two guys get knocked off, and then you're stuck with a very, very small force. So keep doing these little circles. You'll see we spread out into like a pentagon formation with 5 of us. If you have 4 of you, probably will work fine. Just go into some sort of a square. If you have 3 of you, that's going to be really difficult, but you can probably do it on easy, not on medium, I would say. And you just sit here and attack her as much as possible. Now, again, the reason you have your shotguns right now, you'll see as soon as we get out into our little pentagon shape, we look up, make sure she's not raining the stuff down on us, and shoot her with the shotguns. Now, we're going to go ahead and wait for her to land again. You see you want to pump as many rounds as possible. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but combined with 5 of you shooting with decent shotguns, it actually takes its toll over time, which is nice. It doesn't do as much to the rhinos, but when you can see there's only 12 minutes left, if she doesn't land, she has a tendency to do that sometimes, you got to take her out in the sky. So you need some shotguns. Each of you should bring about 100, 150 rounds, and then it won't be an issue. You see she stays kind of close to the ground here too. Make sure you put damage on her, because if you don't, she's not going to lose much health. At all points in time, you should be like, oops, she's about to land. That guy, whoever, now this is a little tip that we've learned over time. That guy or girl, I guess, whoever is the one she's going for, needs to stay still. Because if you don't, she'll jump up, take off. You'll see right here, that guy didn't stay still, so she took off. And sometimes she just takes flight, and that's a big problem. So we've almost got her down right here. However, you'll notice she does that little thing on herself. She launches her 5 little purple balls of death. All my guys had to sit there and just spam med brews while I attacked because they got stuck in that, and you will die to that. So make sure you're careful. That's why you've got your med brews. Use them. Don't try and spare them. That's why you make some ahead of time. Now, you'll see she is almost tostado. She's very low on health right here. She fires down another blast. That's why you're looking up at her. You stop firing your shotguns right about now. The reason you stop firing your shotguns at this point in time is very simple, actually. What you want to avoid doing is killing her in the air, because then you don't get that element. And that's a big problem for you, obviously, because the point of doing this boss fight is to get the element. You don't really need anything else. You just want the element. Now, if you can't get the element, that's a problem. So try and let her land. Now, if you have to, obviously you lose if she doesn't die. So then shoot her. But we have 10 minutes left, so we're very careful about it. We just go ahead and put all of our damage into her. And she's one tap basically right now with a good little burst of energy. So now she does this little thing where she kind of hovers about 10 feet off the ground like you see right there. You can still damage her, so make sure you charge your rhino up and do some damage to her at that point in time. Now obviously you see my strategy here, looking up to make sure that I am keeping an eye on her. She fires the bolts at me. I take a little bit of damage, but I'm pumping the med brews, so we're good to go. So this should be the last hit, I believe. Nope, nope, she faked us out. She does that a lot. Now, we got really lucky because she landed a lot in this boss fight. However, sometimes she doesn't, so you got to be careful about that. See how low she is? Boop, boop. Oh, she's got one more hit in her. Now, anyways, we're kind of doing the same thing. Go into your little pentagon if you have it, and then she gets smacked. Now, this is not a hard boss fight. You still saw we had about 10 minutes left, so we were good to go. You got 50 seconds to figure out what's going on. Make sure everyone has the element. Take everything off of your rhino, put it into your inventory, because sometimes when you're in these boss fights and you leave things on your rhino, you don't get them back. They get stuck there. So take everything off your rhino. It's really important to do that. So that's really it. Hopefully you enjoyed this little tutorial. It really is as easy as it sounds. It's not very difficult. Now that you've seen it, you should be able to literally mimic this. That's what we do every time. And it's something that's not difficult to do. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this, and Teacher's Game 2 out.